Good evening, everybody. Welcome. We are live on YouTube. AEW Dynamite just got off the air. Thunder Rosa just won the World Championship. Obviously, a big time decision for AEW today. Very good show altogether. Today, we are doing something a little bit different. If you guys are coming to my live stream, you might notice it looks a little bit different. That's because we are now branding these post shows and special live episodes that I do on the channel as the Ango show. What's up, Leo? What's up, Darren? What's up, Mike's Auto Detailing? What's up, Nate TV? Welcome, everybody. Yeah, so we are kind of changing things up on the channel. We are going to position this a little bit differently. I really want to make live content a big part of the channel. So we're going to hang out a little bit. We're going to run through the card. We got a whole bunch of notes written. Got them all written over here. All together, I mean, I thought AEW was a really wonderful show tonight. Thunder Rosa, obviously, main eventing and winning the show. You know, what an episode, man. I thought there was some good. There's definitely some bad. What's up, Neil? What's up, Albert, David, Andrew, Bean, Uno? What up, everybody? What up? Hopefully the quality and everything looks good. I'm trying to make it look cool. We're going to switch around between the scenes and everything like that. We'll wait for some people to get in here. If you guys haven't clicked the thumbs up button, I'd greatly appreciate that. That would be really appreciated. We're at 36 likes right now. A lot of great things happening on AEW Dynamite tonight, so we're going to definitely talk about it. There were some things I didn't like either. Kenneth, Steven, Reiner, Hardcore Wrestling 101. What's up, everybody? What up, Fade? Gonna give it some time as everybody joins in. Nate TV, my main. What's up? Yeah, no, honestly, this was a fun episode. I can't wait to really get down in depth with everything that's kind of happened. Just because in general, I think this was just a really solid show more than anything. There wasn't anything that really stood out to me other than Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker. Not saying everything else was bad. I just felt like that was really... There was something really good there. Coach, welcome to the stream. Welcome, everybody. Gerald, Garrett, Memphis in the house. What's up, Memphis? What's up? Voices all around me. Welcome to the show. I mean, this was a big AEW Dynamite. Honestly, when you think about it, there was a lot of stuff that was happening. If you guys want, let's throw this in there as well. Let's see. What's up, Derek Banks? So what we will be doing tonight, trying something out. If you guys use Twitter, if you tweet me at the official Ango and you tweet using the hashtag the Ango Show, I'll be reading some of your guys' tweets. And then as always, if you guys send any super chats or anything like that, that'll pop up on the screen. So it'll be pretty cool. Bullet Club, welcome. Toronto in the house. What's up, Toronto? Head of the table. Welcome. JRD, yo. Craig Easterwood, FTRT's Bret Hart. I don't know. It kind of sounds like it's happening. Obviously, it makes sense considering the Owen Hart thing, so we'll talk a little bit about that. But yeah, Thunder Rosa won the AEW Women's World Championship belt, finally. Barefoot Panda, welcome. If you guys aren't using Twitter, you should tweet me using the hashtag the Ango Show. I'll be reading some of your tweets as we progress through tonight's show. Doc says, why would you post a spoiler of the day of the show? I mean, if you are on the internet, you're going to get spoiled. I don't know what else to tell you, friend. Derek Rose. Oh, shit. That better not be the real D Rose. The D Rose that played for the Detroit Pistons, Chicago Bulls, New York Knicks. What's up, Derek Rose? Derek Banks. Yeah, we had the Hardys tonight. That was cool. Very cool stuff. We'll break everything down. Just letting you guys know as well. Tonight's stream is sponsored by streammusic.gg. So if you guys ever listen to the music that's in my intros or in the outros of these live streams or on my channel, I use streammusic.gg. It's a service that I actually created for people to stream music while they're live streaming or maybe making videos on YouTube. And there's just a whole bunch of stuff, you know what I mean? So if you guys want to check it out, it's streammusic.gg and check it out. That's today's main sponsor. If you guys want to sponsor this channel, maybe you guys have a YouTube channel that you want to promote, maybe that you have a product or a business you want to promote, you can always contact me and we can discuss that. Neil Frost says, are you on Instagram? I absolutely am. At ango.yt on Instagram, at the official Ango on Twitter. A lot of cool stuff. Man, what a night. I was really excited about this. I was really, really excited about AEW tonight. There was some good stuff. There was some bad stuff, but we'll talk about it all in detail. Lisa Simmons, welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome, welcome. By the way, if you guys aren't in the Discord server, you guys could check out the Discord server. The link's in the description as well. Ton of big things. Yeah. JRD, we listen and watch your channel from Puerto Rico. What's up, JRD? Thank you for that. We appreciate it. Andre Ingram says this was a 5-star show. Dynamite has been 4 or 5 stars since like the debut episode, in my opinion. It was enjoyable. I think, we'll talk a little bit more about it in depth as I go through all the matches. But for sure, there was a lot of cool things that happened. But I also have some complaints. I got to complain a little bit. Yeah, it should be really fun. Today is March 16th, 2022, by the way. So we'll see. We'll see what's going on. Why do you think they debuted Jay White? Then he's been nowhere. We haven't seen him anywhere. That's AEW. That's what AEW does. It's one of my complaints about AEW for sure. When I talk about AEW on a weekly basis, I do mention that they definitely do some weird stuff like that. So, Cool Young Spark says Ango just can't be happy. No, I mean my job is literally to talk about wrestling. And if I told you that everything is perfect, I'm bullshitting you. And I know a lot of YouTubers and wrestling media will love to bullshit you. I mean, just in general, people like to bullshit you. I tend to not want to bullshit you. Because at the end of the day, I'm just a fan. I'm not a journalist. I'm not a wrestling news guy. I mean, obviously, I aggregate news to you guys, but the point of my channel is for me to tell you guys what I think of wrestling. So if I can't just be happy, I mean, I'd be fucking lying to you guys all, realistically. And I'm not trying to lie to you. I think that's the silly thing about YouTube. It's like, I understand we all like AEW. I never said AEW is bad, but I do have some criticisms here. And guess why I have criticisms too? And I'm not saying my voice actually freaking matters. If they want to listen to people's insight, that's cool. But it's like when I talk about WWE, right? When I talk about WWE, AEW, or Impact, because mind you, I like all of them. But when I have an issue with these companies, it's because when I see something, it doesn't mean it's the popular opinion. It doesn't mean it's the general public's opinion. But what I've noticed is that I have a feeling in regards to what's happening in wrestling, and sometimes I just don't like it. It does, and I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying you can't like it. I'm just saying I'm one of those people. I think a little bit differently. And I will tell you guys, like, I should absolutely 100% be vocal about it, good and bad. Because if you guys tell AEW, we'll use AEW for an example, because we will get in depth. Trust me, I got a lot of in-depth notes. But let's just say, for example, I tell you guys that AEW is perfect. And I genuinely don't think that way. Well, I don't know if you guys know this, but I do YouTube as a job. This is my job. This is where I make my money, right? So I'm lying to you guys to make money just to tell you everything that would make you happy. Whose business does not benefit from that? AEW's. We're using AEW as an example. But if I constantly tell you that AEW is perfect, right? And AEW considers, and this is all hypothetical, but if they actually cared about my opinion, right? Just hypothetically speaking, if I tell them everything is good, how would they ever improve? Now apply that to WWE, to Impact. I mean, that's why I think we shouldn't bullshit and gaslight the viewers up and tell everybody that it's all positive, positive, positive. You know, because I can call out a lot of people right now in my comment section. You know, I've seen people in my comments, they're like, oh, WWE uses old people, right? It's like, well, yeah, AEW uses Sting. AEW uses Jeff Hardy and CM Punk. I mean, there's quite a few old people being used. Now, if we're specific, we can say, hey, AEW uses old people too, but they just managed to use them a lot better. Isn't that a very healthy conversation to have? But if you think about it from this perspective of trying to be valid with your criticisms, I think like there's... So like, for example, people say nitpicking. I mean, my job is literally to nitpick shit. Like, that's literally what I do. But that's why I think it's so important for me as like a YouTuber, as a fan of wrestling, just to say how I feel. And it doesn't, like, I don't hate AEW. I don't hate WWE. I don't hate anything. I just think every company has room for improvement. Like, by the way, we'll kind of jump into this, but one of the biggest notes that I mentioned, and this was huge, the opening match was Adam Cole and Red Dragon versus Paige and Jurassic Express. I didn't like the fact that the champions just got pinned on free television. I didn't. Now, you might be saying, well, you're nitpicking. It was wonderfully executed, right? And I get that. Some people will actually say that. By the way, my biggest complaint about WWE is when I turn on Monday Night Raw and I see Finn Balor just got absolutely fucking destroyed by Damian Priest. So, just for context purposes, it was my issue with this match, but it's also an issue that I have in WWE, and I don't mean to swear and cuss. I know I typically don't do that, but it's just my point that I'm trying to make is that, like, I can say something is good, for example, but I can say I don't like it. And if I tell you guys I don't like something, you need to be able to digest what I'm telling you and say, hey, this is particularly not something that he enjoyed, but he appreciates that it's good and he understands that other people like it. It's very rare that you're going to hear me bury something completely, but we will talk about it a little bit more in depth. But for those who just, you know, kind of understand, who want to understand my way of thinking, like, I see people, they'll talk shit about WWE, but they don't watch WWE. You can't talk about WWE if you don't watch it. You know who can talk about WWE? The people who watch it every single week. And you can't tell somebody that their opinion is wrong because, quite honestly, if I tell you the sky is blue and you tell me the sky is yellow, I can tell you you're wrong because I can look at the sky and see that it's blue. But if I tell you that wrestling sucks or wrestling is good or this sucks or that sucks, I'm just telling you my opinion, and you're allowed to disagree. You're allowed to agree. We should be able to have that healthy conversation. And I think that's one of the things with like casual viewers. I think casual viewers in wrestling will, if I'm being completely honest with you, I think casual viewers in wrestling are turned off by talking about wrestling on social media. Because it's like if you literally tell AEW fans or WWE fans something that they don't agree with, it's like this mob mentality, like you suck. It's, you know what I mean? It's like there's just certain things, you know what I mean? So for me personally, I thought there was some good, I thought there was some bad. AEW tonight was a very solid show, but again, there was just some things I didn't like. Now, with that being said, let's talk about this in depth. So it is, in fact, March 16th, 2022. It is the Ango Show live. We are talking about AEW Dynamite in San Antonio, Texas. It was a very, very interesting show. Lots of good, lots of bad. We got the notes, highly detailed. We're going to talk about it. Opening the show, we had the trios match with Adam Cole, Red Dragon. They defeated Hangman Page and Jurassic Express. Now, the Jurassic Express were the ones to take the pinfall. Jungle Boy was pinned, and very solid match. Obviously, the trios division in AEW is just something incredible. I've always spoken very highly about how good the trios in AEW is, and I stand by that 100%, 1,000,000%. I truly believe that AEW's trios division is solid. I really do believe it's solid. Now, one thing I mentioned earlier today, I said I don't like when the champions get pinned on TV. It's very rare where I like it. And it doesn't matter if it's WWE. It doesn't matter if it's Finn Balor winning the U.S. Championship and losing to Damian Priest on TV, or if it's Red Dragon pinning Jurassic Express. Hangman Page is the world champion. And one of the biggest things I have said is that Jurassic Express and Hangman Page do not feel like a big deal to me on television. And it's really strange because I like these people a lot. I like all of these people a lot. But none of this felt important tonight. I thought this show was all about Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker. I'm not saying the match was bad. I just don't like the idea of champions being pinned on TV, regardless of the company you're watching. But my God, Jurassic Express, Luchasaurus. I mean, let's talk about how good of a match this is. The chemistry here was just incredible. And one of the things I absolutely mentioned, right? I don't like champions losing on TV. But one thing I will credit AEW, even with the champions losing, I feel like they still look pretty strong. Being that all three of these guys were champions and they lost tonight, I feel like if you were to ask somebody, what did you think about AEW tonight? Some people might forget this even happened because it was a good show. There was a lot of things that happened. And I feel like this match could have main evented. I feel like this match could have main evented any sort of AEW Dynamite. So it just ended up being on a night where I don't think it necessarily had to be there. I don't think they absolutely had to do this match tonight. It appears to me that Adam Cole is probably going to be the next one in line for this world championship. He lost to Hangman Page. At this point, them pinning Jurassic Express and Hangman Page tonight indicated to me that they are still going to continue Adam Cole and Hangman Page. Now, whether they set that up for Double or Nothing or not, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how much people believe in Adam Cole as a world champion. I'll let you guys kind of determine that in the comment section. But for me personally, I do find myself on the side of, I think both guys are incredible. But I just think the timing right now, it's a very, very weird situation as far as timing goes. Me personally speaking, I just think the timing is very, very, very weird. I think there's so much going on in AEW, and this just doesn't stick out as that massive feud. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't see it the way a lot of other people see it, which is a shame because I really do like Hangman Page and I really do like Adam Cole. But the way I see it, this just doesn't feel as important. And that goes to show you how good of a job AEW has booked their mid-card and how good of a job AEW is starting to book their women's division. The Britt Baker, Thunder Rosa stuff, it's starting to become impressive. It's starting to become enjoyable, right? So it just goes to show you that AEW is doing such a good job outside of their main event scene that everything else also feels important. Very, very interesting stuff. And that's something I definitely want to keep in mind as time goes on. It appears that we got a super chat from Albert Ponce. He says, the story needs to stay with both Adams, the Bucks, Red Dragon, and Omega. And I think that's kind of where we are going with all of this. Obviously, it's a slow burn. We don't know when Kenny Omega will be back. There's rumors that he'll be back for Double or Nothing. I do believe at some point they are getting ready to set that up. So just kind of keep in mind, if they are in fact setting up something with Kenny and the Bucks and Red Dragon and Adam Cole, then perhaps once Kenny returns, this will start to feel more important. Until Kenny shows up, though, I just don't know if this feels important. But we'll kind of see as time goes on. Now, with that being said, I want to move on. We go to a commercial break. After a commercial break, Chris Statlander vignette shows up on the screen, and it appears that Chris Statlander is being repackaged. She's wiping off her alien stuff, her alien makeup and whatnot, and, honestly, I genuinely thought that this was a good idea. Now, in the Discord server, we had been talking a little bit about House of Black, which they do have a match against Bear Country and Fuego del Sol on Rampage this upcoming weekend. I want to mention this. Chris Statlander is getting a character change. She lost to legit Layla Hirsch at Revolution. Chris Statlander getting this gimmick change is very interesting to me. Perhaps she's going to go more serious. I know there hasn't been a connection just yet. I know it hasn't happened just yet. But in my mind, I would be very curious to see if AEW would pull the trigger on adding Chris Statlander to House of Black. I don't know. There's nothing that they've indicated that shows to me that is something that they're working on. But to me personally, as a fan of wrestling and, you know, what they have done with Chris Statlander, and now they're teasing this character change, I thought it was interesting. I would like to see her become a little bit more serious, break away from the best friends. And who knows how they do this, but I'm curious to see what they do. And again, I just want to say, shout out to Albert Ponce again for your $5 super chat. I mean, I agree 100% right on the money. The story does need to stay with both Adams. And you know, when I look at AEW, it just kind of goes to show you, right? Like, not to bounce back and forth, but, you know, Chris Statlander, character work. And I talk about this on my live streams a lot. Character work, character work, character work. Something that we need to see a little bit more of in AEW. So one thing I would like to point out is that Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, developing a story, kind of like this, like, romance, like three-way romance. It's just really cool. And then you look at Chris Statlander, and it all ties together, man. You're going to see me talk a lot about characters because it's something I enjoy in wrestling. Cringy characters, badass characters. I love characters. And in fact, one thing I really loved was the best friends versus Danielson and Moxley. So let's talk about that. So for those who saw, we had Bryan Danielson come out with William Regal. Obviously, William Regal is now on commentary for the match. Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson, they end up beating Wheeler Yuta and Chuck Taylor. Phenomenal match. Honestly, I think anybody who watched this match saw how great and refreshing it was. But the match, you know, I do have a couple things I want to praise and a couple things I do have to critique. Maybe it's nitpicking, but it's something I've noticed. Not a big deal. It doesn't turn me off right away. It's just something I've kind of noticed. Now, when I was watching AEW Dynamite and I was watching this tag team match, obviously an impressive match. Best friends, Danhausen, everybody, they're walking back up the ramp. Wheeler Yuta walks back into the ring to shake William Regal's hand. William Regal slaps the shit out of him. Now, instead of being a little bitch, what does he do? He gets up in William Regal's face. And then there's like 10, 20 seconds of them kind of getting serious for a second. And then what ends up happening? Wheeler Yuta leaves. Again, we're talking about characters and stories, right? We're seeing a development here. Wheeler Yuta, to me, Wheeler Yuta in AEW so far has just appeared to me as another wrestler. And tonight, standing face-to-face with William Regal and Moxley and Danielson after getting his ass kicked, taking that slap, getting back in the face of William Regal, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. This, to me, was something I think I need to be on record and say, fantastic job, AEW, because you made this work. You made me get behind Wheeler Yuta, and it only took 10 seconds. Now, the thing is, perception is reality. Perception is reality, and I want to talk about this because it's so real. When you watch WWE or AEW and you see comedy characters, you don't perceive them to be this big deal, right? You don't see them perceived to be a big deal. And the reason why is because they're a comedy role. And Wheeler Yuta was somebody to me in AEW. Oh, he's just another guy, another wrestler in a comedy role. When I seen that firsthand and I witnessed firsthand, I said, wow, I can't get into this, right? And all it took was getting slapped by William Regal and then getting back in the face of William Regal for me to be like, I'm sold. Whether he joins this tag team or not, Moxley and Bryan Danielson with William Regal, possibly Wheeler Yuta, it intrigues me so much. It really does. I want to get to some super chats. We got 2 super chats. Brian Medina says, do you think we will see Bullet Club versus Elite versus Undisputed Era in AEW? Brian, that's a wonderful question. Thank you for your $5 super chat. Truth be told, if I'm being honest here, I don't know if I'm going to see a triple threat match like that. Bullet Club right now is in a very, very interesting situation. Everybody just turned on GOD. This is why I love Impact, by the way, because you're starting to see a lot of work between New Japan and Impact. If I'm AEW, I think that is the money match to make at some point. I think that could be a very, very massive match. for AEW. So yes, I think at some point we do. I don't think it's in the near future, but I do think it is in the future at some point in the lifetime of AEW. I think so. True Exposure left a $5 super chat. He says, how do you feel about Jericho Appreciation Society? I like the guys in it, but the name is so bad. True Exposure. I'm going to come back to this super chat, actually. I just put it in my notes, so I just copied and pasted it. Give me a second. I'm not going to ignore your super chat, but I actually had this on the list. This was the next thing we were going to talk about, so just give me a second. We'll bounce back to it. And then we did have a super chat from Myra for $5. I'm excited to see Wheeler Yuta finally being elevated, 100%, right? And I agree 1,000,000%. It's character development. To me, he just stands out now more than a professional wrestler. And again, right, if you guys watch me live after Monday Night Raw or NXT this week, I was talking about characters, and I said it. I literally said it in my live streams. I said I love characters in wrestling. The cringiness, the good ones, the bad ones. There's just some sort of attachment that I have to characters. And then where I get invested with wrestling is, can you have good characters and good storytelling with good wrestling matches? Which is why sometimes in WWE, I don't like WWE, right? And the reason why I mention that is because sometimes they have really good wrestling matches with bad characters or bad storytelling, or they have really good characters with bad matches, right? And it's kind of like my thing with AEW. It's like, of course they have good matches, and yes, they do have good storytelling, but they're not the best storytelling. Or certain things, there's just inconsistencies throughout the board. And same thing with Impact. I think Wheeler Yuta finally has an identity, right? He finally has an identity. You know who has been missing an identity in AEW? Let's talk about Tony Nese. Just another good wrestler. He's missing an identity. And that's why I loved what they did with Wheeler Yuta. I genuinely felt like Wheeler Yuta was like I thought the thing that they did with Wheeler Yuta was just, it was phenomenal, honestly. Thank you, Myra, again, for your $5 super chat. I appreciate that. Now, I do want to circle back to the super chat that we got from True Exposure. True Exposure just left a $5 super chat, so thank you for that. Let's talk about it a little bit in depth. So Jericho comes out with the new faction, Jericho Appreciation Society, JAS. And if I'm being completely honest with you guys, I thought this segment was absolutely terrible. I thought it was terrible, but it's not terrible in the way that you would expect. Okay, so let me explain why. So the name is terrible. The idea, the gimmick is terrible, right? They are all sports entertainers. You have Daniel Garcia. Daniel Garcia looks at the camera, the hard cam, and he says, I am a sports entertainer too, right? Now, obviously, it is very clear what AEW is doing here. They are taking a huge dig at WWE. That's what Chris Jericho and Jericho Association, whatever the name is at this point, Jericho Association Society, right? When I look at this, it's like a terrible idea. It's a terrible segment, but it's funny to me. Like, I laugh at this. Like, I think this is like, Jericho is a genius, right? Jericho knows the AEW audience is hardcore. He knows everybody hates WWE. He's playing into that. And he's getting himself over as a bad guy. And that's why this is all so terrible. It's so funny to me. It's so funny. There was a thing that he said. It was like, Jericho kind of said something like 2.0 is a bad name from bad creative. Now we're going by our own names, which I thought was absolutely hilarious because Matt Lee and Jeff Parker, Matt and Jeff Hardy, obviously they were trying to get away from the name thing. Chris Jericho is not even his real name, which is the funny thing too. It's all, to me, this is like all a rib, honestly. It's all a rib in my opinion. But let me be honest here. This is a huge dig at WWE and sports entertainers. And as a heel character, it honestly does make sense. Like, in order for Jericho to get this thing over, it makes sense for him to 100% absolutely take a dig at this company. I mean, it just makes sense. Now, let me explain something to you guys about this because I really, really want to talk about this in depth. I like Jericho. I like all the guys in this group. I hate the name, and I hate that they're being treated as like this, like, anti-WWE establishment. Maybe I have it all wrong. But when I saw Inner Circle come together, I loved Inner Circle. When I seen this come together, I like everybody that's in it, and I didn't like the name. And honestly, it's actually really funny because, you know, True Exposure says, hey, I like the guys in it, but the name is so bad. I hate it too. I hate it. And then I think what it really comes down to, what it really comes down to when you think about it, we're supposed to hate it, right? We're supposed to think this is garbage because sports entertainment is garbage. We're supposed to hate Chris Jericho. We're supposed to hate these guys. We're supposed to hate the name. We are supposed to hate that they're sports entertainers. So it's a really big gimmick that's going to draw. It's a gimmick that will draw for sure. And the idea is for Chris Jericho to get heat. I do expect that they are going to, by the way, I think they're going to change the theme music, which they didn't do that today. But another thing too is they announced the new names for Matt Lee and Jeff Parker. I can't even tell you what they were. They were ridiculous, which is like a rib in its own, right? We're going by our real names. And they were like some fucking bullshit ass names. Like, I can't even remember. Maybe people will put them in the chat. But my point that I'm making is like these names were completely garbage. So when I seen this happen and transpire over TV, I was like, okay, yeah, it is bad. It's terrible. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. It's crappy. It's shitty. It's like all these different things, right? It's supposed to be. And that's why I like it, right? Going back to what I said about like 5 minutes ago, I said characters, right? I said I like characters. I like stories. I like the cringy shit. I like the bad stuff. I like the good stuff. You know, it's like, you know, I see when I see the storyline, it's like, it's kind of like WWE type shit, to be honest. It's the stuff that I like about WWE. And I'm glad AEW is kind of bringing that to their television. Now, it's funny. Real Take Sports said something in the chat, too. He says, I love that it's a parody of Roman. They'll come out every week and appreciate Jericho, right? It's very similar when you think about it. You know, acknowledge me. You got Matt Lee and Jeff Parker coming out praising the living shit out of Jericho. Oh, he's the greatest. He's a sports entertainer. He's this. He's the influencer, right? It's stupid. It is so stupid. It's like the dumb shit in wrestling I actually like. I'm going to give it time, obviously, and see what they do because at the end of the day, me as a fan, like I've said before, I don't mind the stupid stuff. And to me, this is incredibly stupid. And it's big shots at creative. Now, I hope this transpires into something that does become a little bit more serious. I like when Chris Jericho is serious. I don't want Daniel Garcia to become a guy who gets lost in this crappy, stupid, ridiculous, gimmicky bullshit. I do think there is a huge ceiling for Daniel Garcia, which is why I enjoy this. You know what I mean? So I want people to make it very clear. I want to make it very clear for people. When I say this is garbage, it's like the good kind of garbage, right? Yeah, I know it sounds like I'm all over the place when I talk about this, but it's like the stupid shit in wrestling that really sucks, but you end up liking it. That's what it is for me. Now, I do want to make a very serious point. I want to make a very, very serious point here. So when I'm watching this segment with Jericho cutting this promo, with JAS, this new faction, one of the things that, obviously they're taking digs at WWE, which is completely fine. AEW is going to continue doing that. Something I really want people to just kind of factor in, right? Obviously, they're taking a dig at sports entertainment. They're taking a dig at WWE. Jericho openly talking about his best friend, Kevin, who made the call to Jericho after Matt Lee and Jeff Parker were fired from WWE. Hey, can you put him on Talk as Jericho? Like all of this stuff. It's logical and it makes sense. But I do think in the long term of things, I think AEW constantly having people on their roster take digs at WWE, it's not going to invite a casual WWE viewer who wants to enjoy AEW. It's like them constantly insulting WWE. I think people who want to give AEW a chance, who may not be watching it right now, they might be insulted by that. And that is just something to consider. Now, as I've said, I think the Jericho Appreciation Society is something that's like, it's ridiculously bad and I hate it, but like it's designed in a way for me to actually hate it, right? Daniel Garcia is this guy that I've come to believe by watching him on AEW that he's going to be this massive, incredibly big wrestler, and here he is with Jericho and 2.0 and Jake Hager, and it's just all one gimmick. And that's just why I wanted to mention this. I think it's so important for people to realize, like, I hope this actually leads to something, because it should lead to something, and hopefully it evolves into something better than just like this anti-WWE thing. I think AEW could potentially be hurting their business by constantly talking and taking digs at WWE. I understand that it's fun and it's entertaining, but it's only fun and entertaining to the hardcore wrestling fans that watch AEW. Truth be told, I know people who love WWE, and they love WWE for whatever reason that they choose. They love WWE, right? Now, as somebody who likes a little bit of everything, I had this conversation with this individual, and I said, what is it that you don't like about AEW? Because I think they have some really good matches, and at times they have some really good stories. And he's like, they just constantly tell me on AEW that what I like and what I enjoy is bad, and I feel turned off by that. And I think that is just something to keep in mind. It works for AEW's audience. I don't think it works to grow their audience from people outside. It's just something to consider. But I do think the Jericho Appreciation Society is a very interesting idea. I love that it's like I said, it's garbage, it's stupid, it's silly, it's ridiculous. They got new names, right? Like, it's ridiculous. But as somebody who likes the wackiness in wrestling, this is the type of wackiness that might be able to actually work. And it's going to be up to Jericho to make it work. And hopefully this leads to perhaps a feud with Jericho and Daniel Garcia at some point, when they choose to turn Daniel Garcia into a very serious asset in the show. Moving on, I do want to talk a little bit about Wardlow versus Scorpio Sky. I called this out last week. We talked about this on the channel. A lot of people had asked me, they said, hey, Scorpio Sky, he's going to be a transitional champion. What happened? Scorpio Sky is supposed to be a transitional champion. He's going to be a transitional champion. There's no way they're going to put him. And I said, no. I said, Scorpio Sky is not going to be a transitional champion. Wardlow is going to get screwed by Shawn Spears and MJF. And lo and behold, it happened, guys. So for those who missed it, let's talk about it. So basically, Wardlow versus Scorpio Sky, good match back and forth. Wardlow's pretty much dominating, starts hitting the power bombs. Shawn Spears walks down the entrance ramp with the steel chair, and next thing you know, the ref goes and tries to escort him out of the arena. He's distracted. MJF comes out through the guardrail, throws Wardlow into the post, and Scorpio Sky then ends up getting a roll-up pin or whatever in the ring. So MJF did cost Wardlow the opportunity here. Good on AEW for not making Scorpio Sky a transitional champion. Good on AEW for using logic here. Good on AEW for actually storytelling, right? Because now Wardlow versus MJF is set up. I think this was wonderful. I genuinely believe this was a wonderful booking. I think AEW did a phenomenal job telling the story. Also, to apply logic at the end, MJF ended up paying Dan Lambert as he was leaving. Post-match beatdown. Everything about this actually made sense. Now, for as much as I enjoyed the booking here, and I'm saying this in a very honest way, and I wrote this down. The Face of the Revolution ladder match was kind of pointless. They could have got to Wardlow and MJF in a different way. And I actually do believe that. That was something I wrote down. It was something I was thinking in my head. And I want to be very, very serious here for a second. Wardlow won the Face of the Revolution ladder match. He immediately gets this championship match and loses. And I just don't know if that's the way I would have done it. I'm not saying it was bad by any means. I think this was a really, really good, logical storytelling, right? But Wardlow could have been having a squash match against somebody. He could have versed somebody on the AEW roster who doesn't get used quite often that could have probably benefited from having a big win, right? And MJF could have still cost him the match and everything. So again, I might be nitpicking here, but I'm just pointing out that to me, it appears that the Face of the Revolution match kind of all happened for no reason. I'm not mad. I just think they could have accomplished this in a different way. That's all. That's honestly all I really feel about it. But all in all, I was actually really happy to see that they're building Wardlow and MJF. And I actually do believe, I talked about it on my channel today, youtube.com/AngoYT. I talked about it. Brian Cage revealed in an interview that there's plans for him. Now, we know his contract was picked up. The option on his contract was picked up. He'll be with AEW for another year. They got to have some way for MJF to go over Wardlow, and you don't want to do it clean. MJF just came off a loss against CM Punk. You don't want him to lose at... You don't want MJF to lose at Double or Nothing. So here's what I think AEW will do. Literally. Here is what I think AEW will do. I think AEW is going to have Wardlow versus MJF at Double or Nothing. Brian Cage will end up costing Wardlow the match at Double or Nothing. This allows MJF to rebound after losing to CM Punk. It also gets him over as a piece of shit asshole. And we already know he is. He's already over as a piece of shit asshole, but this is going to push that a little bit further. Brian Cage, who hasn't been used in several months, will now come back to a prominent storyline in the mid-card against Wardlow. And I think this would be the correct booking, the correct way to go about it. It gives Brian Cage and Wardlow something to do after Double or Nothing, and you put MJF over. And I think this is a really good idea, and I hope to see AEW does something like that. Let me know what you guys think about that idea in the comments section. I'm very curious to hear what everybody thinks. I just don't see Wardlow beating MJF at Double or Nothing. I really don't. And I think you have Brian Cage, you build Brian Cage and Wardlow, two big guys. I think AEW can do something really good there. And it just goes to show you that MJF really is nothing without these guys that he hires. Very, very interesting. Very interesting stuff. Let me know what you guys think. I was thinking that, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff, guys. There's a lot of cool stuff they can do. Don't forget, if you guys missed it, today's stream is sponsored by streammusic.gg. It's my music service where I allow content creators to use music. There's a library, about 100 plus songs, new music added every month, lo-fi, hip-hop, EDM, pop music, a whole bunch of background music for your live streams, content. You know, everybody asks me, hey, can you help me get into YouTube? I want to create YouTube videos like you. I encourage everybody to do it. I would love to bring more guests on the show. It's my plan that I definitely have. You know, what I would recommend is if you guys are going to get into creating content, you know, start off with a microphone, webcam, just talk about wrestling, talk about whatever it is that you want. And then if you guys want to use background music, use streammusic.gg. It's completely free. There's no cost associated with it. So just something to kind of consider. I do want to jump into the Hardys versus Private Party match. This was really cool. So we had Private Party versus the Hardys. I actually liked this match. I genuinely liked it. You know, the Hardys coming back, it's just like, you know, again, I see a lot of people complain. They're like, oh, WWE and AEW using these old people, or Jeff Hardy, they've been using them a lot and whatever. But I'm just being completely honest here. I don't give a shit. I think the Hardys in 2022 is absolutely incredible. I think they're awesome to watch. It was cool to watch Jeff Hardy with the face paint. It was really cool to watch, you know, Isaiah Cassidy. He's about to get the nut buster. I don't know what they call the move, but it's the thing, you know, Jeff Hardy spreads some legs and he does like the leg drop on him. He screamed like it was so funny, man. This was a really cool match. Honestly, I really enjoyed it. Maybe a little too long, but just really fun, right? And it kind of goes back to what I was saying in the beginning of the show. I mentioned in the beginning of the live stream today, I said, you know, AEW has this issue where like Adam Cole and Red Dragon versus Jurassic Express and Hangman Page. Like that could have just main event. It was so good. It could have just main evented another Dynamite. There was just too much stuff on the show that like overshadows one and another. But really cool. Honestly, I really like watching the Hardys. I've been talking about this on the channel. And on the channel, I've been saying, look, AEW just needs to have Hardys keep wrestling in these tag matches. You know, hopefully one day Private Party end up becoming an iconic tag team as well. Maybe Butcher and the Blade become something big. Maybe TH2 becomes something big. And I'll reiterate this 100 times. I think, in my opinion, it's actually really important that AEW just gets these matches out of the way. Because eventually the Hardys will retire. And if these tag teams ever blow up, they'll have the tape footage. Hey, we wrestled the Hardys, even though we lost. Like, that was an experience. It was this, and this. You know, I'm all about those wrestling documentaries. So get those matches out of the way. I don't really have too much to say. After this, we saw AFO come out So the Hardys obviously won. AFO comes out, and then to the defense of Jeff and Matt Hardy, we got Sting and Darby. Obviously, they're building the tag match, right? They're building some sort of 8-man tag match. I don't know when it's going to happen. Hopefully, it's just something that they do on TV. I don't really think they necessarily need to do that for Double or Nothing. I think they need to do like a straight up tag team match for Double or Nothing for the Hardys. But I do think on Dynamite we'll see Andrade and Butcher and the Blade and somebody else, go up against Matt and Jeff Hardy. It was cool stuff, man. I like the Hardys. I don't really care what anybody says. I really enjoyed watching them on AEW. I really don't have too many notes on this. One of the big things I wrote down was Andrade needs to go solo. I think Andrade needs to break away, honestly. If I'm being honest, I think Andrade needs to break away from the groups. I think Andrade, if he's not part of the group, he's lost in the shuffle, which sucks. I feel like AEW kind of has dropped the ball with Andrade. I'm just not really interested in him with these guys. I don't see the chemistry there. And I'm not trying to be like negative or anything like that. I just think it's really important for AEW to treat Andrade like a bigger and better deal. And I think Andrade, the way he's been booked in AEW has been interesting. You had him paired with Vicky Guerrero. You had him come out to no music, and that was just all disastrous, in my opinion. Then you have him pair up with Chavo, and then there's the rumor circulating that Ric Flair was potentially going to be the new manager for Andrade, and then the whole thing happened with the Dark Side of the Ring, so then Ric Flair never shows up. Now, whether or not that was confirmed, I don't know, but that's what the rumors were. And I just feel like ever since Andrade has just been, he's just kind of been in a shitty situation with AEW. I do think it's time for Andrade to go solo. I really do believe that. Albert Ponce leaves another super chat. He says, Sting versus Jeff in the tag team match should be interesting given the history there. Absolutely, Albert. I agree. And I think that's something that's very, very key and important to mention and to acknowledge. It appears when Jeff Hardy made his debut, he did something. He signaled to Sting, whether it was like an apology or like he was thankful for him. I don't know what it was, but we all saw it on camera. He definitely acknowledged something with Sting, which was cool. Hopefully Jeff stays clean. Hopefully there's no issues for Jeff too. I really like Jeff. I would like to see what they do there. I really don't know. There's definitely that history. Now, if you're AEW, do you acknowledge that history? That's the question I'm going to let you guys decide. If you're AEW, do you decide to put some sort of storyline together to discuss the real life incidents between Sting and Jeff? Maybe a backstage segment or something like that. I'm very curious. That could be a very interesting idea. I don't know how I feel about it. I would need more time to sleep on that idea, but it would definitely be interesting to me. Thank you, Albert, again for your $5 super chat. I appreciate you, brother. Poseidon just said Andrade can bring in Selena De La Rente as his manager. For those who don't watch MLW, you should check out her work. She would be perfect for Andrade. I'd be cool with that. From my understanding, there was rumors that she was going to be joining WWE. That was like during the pandemic. Something happened. I'm not sure exactly what happened there. Yeah. Albert says it's up to the two of them. If they are okay with it, do not force it. I agree, right? I agree. Do not force it by any means. Yeah. Definitely don't force it if you're going to do it. If they're both cool with it, I guess I could be cool with it, right? AEW typically doesn't ignore real life, which is cool. Sometimes WWE tries to ignore real life. Sometimes Impact tries to ignore real life. And sometimes they don't. I think anytime you add real elements to the show, it gets interesting. But sometimes when it's forced, it kind of sucks. So it is what it is. And for our final topic, we are going to talk about Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker. Congratulations to these two ladies. This was the main event of AEW Dynamite on March 16, 2022. Here on the Ango Show, we're talking about this phenomenal match. The blood and guts was part of it. I do think the build up to this match could have been better. I genuinely do believe that. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that AEW had this perfect build up for this match. Yes, they called back to their match that they had a year ago, March 17th of 2021. The lights out match that was unsanctioned. That's fine. I understand the callback. That was cool. I do think AEW has something special with Thunder Rosa. I think they have something special with Britt Baker. It's going to be really interesting to see what AEW does without Britt Baker holding that world championship. It is going to be really interesting to me to see how AEW does this, because I think AEW is in a situation right now where this match was super good. And I'm trying to think of credible opponents for Thunder Rosa, and I don't know. The only thing I could kind of think of is maybe AEW starts to build that split between Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker. Somebody I have been saying for a while, Jamie Hayter needs to start being valued as a singles star. She's going to get better and more popular as she wrestles more. I do believe that this main event match was the best part of AEW Dynamite tonight, right? It's like AEW put a whole bunch of main event matches together on one card. And I don't think AEW is good when they do that, because I think people want to be able to digest certain things, right? So when you look at when you look at the trios match with Red Dragon and Adam Cole versus Jurassic Express and Hangman Page, that could have main evented a Dynamite. When you look at Mox and Danielson versus Wheeler Yuta and Chuck Taylor, that could have main evented a Dynamite. You look at the Hardys versus Private Party, good match, that could have main evented a Dynamite. I think right now it was all about Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker. The special entrance, the presentation, everything about this was perfect. I don't even want to waste time to dissect it, because I think it is just so important for people to understand right now as it stands. This match was the match of the night. The thumbtacks, the cage, everything about it was presented the right way. Thunder Rosa getting the celebration to go off the air. It is very clear to me that this was a very, very good match. And I wish the build up to it was really good. I wish it was really, really good. I'm not saying it was bad. I wish there was more to it. But I genuinely enjoy this main event. And I was happy to see that Thunder Rosa finally won the world championship. It's about time. Predictable, yes, 100%. Predictable easily. Sometimes predictable isn't bad. It's not bad. They had the spot with all these chairs stacked, and then you get the suplex, right? And it's like Britt Baker ends up getting kicked out after she gets slammed through all this. It was presented in a way that was good. It was presented in a way that made sense. It was presented in a way where I think, like, Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa, hopefully in the long term of AEW, they go back and have a trilogy. Hopefully they do something. It doesn't have to be this year. It doesn't even have to be next year. I think at some point they have to run it back. Just because it's so fun watching them. The unsanctioned match, now the cage match. The third match has to be something we haven't seen before. But I don't think it has to happen anytime soon. Brian Medina says, hold on. Hold on. I think we got a super chat. I can't tell. I'm just loading up. Give me 1 second. We did. Okay. Yeah, so there was a super chat from Brian Medina. I agree with Jamie Hayter, but I'd like to see Rebel break up with Britt too. You know, yeah, look, Brian, I think that's a really good point. Thank you for your $5 super chat. Rebel is in a situation that's kind of odd with AEW because she's not really wrestling, and she's probably, I'm going to say this respectfully, she is way better as a manager slash valet slash like whatever you want to call it, right? She is like really good at what she does assisting Britt Baker. She's great for that role. If you take that out, I think Britt Baker loses a little. Not saying that Britt Baker is ruined without her, but I just don't think. I think it's better that they are together. I think they complement each other very well. So I would actually keep Rebel with Britt Baker. And I would like to see them both turn on Jamie. I would love to see them turn on Jamie. And I think if they turn on Jamie Hayter, it would be a lot better. So again, Brian Medina, thank you for your $5 super chat. Guys, we have 4 minutes left in the show. 4 minutes left on the Ango show. We're kicking it. I'm reading stuff in the chat. If you guys want to submit your super chats, get them in now. Please get them in now. Definitely want to get those in. And yeah, Real Take Sports. Love the show, pal. Keep it up. Can't wait for more. Real Take Sports, one of my favorite YouTube channels to get my sports news, by the way. Thank you. Thank you, Omer. Yeah, dude, this guy, he's got the great stuff. I don't know if you guys watch football or anything, but if you guys like sports, football, basketball, I mean, everything, right? Baseball, Real Take Sports is a great channel for all of that. Let's see. Yeah, so overall, great show. Let me know what you guys think of AEW. It's March 16th, 2022. We got 3 minutes left. So if you guys want to get in those super chats, definitely get those in now. If you guys haven't become a member, you could become a member for $4.99 a month. Also, don't forget, the show is sponsored by StreamMusic.gg. Being that it's sponsored by StreamMusic.gg, if you're a content creator, maybe you're a live streamer, maybe you're doing stuff just like this, what's really cool is you can use StreamMusic.gg for completely free. Use it as backup music for your content. So definitely check that out. Derek says, if you had to make the ROH roster, who would be your top 2 singles and top 2 tag teams? Great question, Derek. That's something I need to think about. Brave Raider says, I am playing WWE 2K22. It is good. Yes, WWE 2K22 is really good. I do play that on my gaming channel, Ango Plays. So if you guys aren't on Ango Plays, you guys should definitely check it out. Alrighty, y'all. It appears it is time. Oh, my God. Andrew just sent a $10 super chat. Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa were amazing tonight. They are 100% the top 2 stars of the women's division. I think Britt and Jamie feud. I'm not sure who gets a shot at Thunder Rosa, though. Andrew W., thank you for your $10 super chat. I do appreciate that. Yes, I agree. They were amazing tonight. Yes, I do agree that they are top 2, 100%. They are the top 2 females in AEW's women's division. And I'll actually go as far as saying that they are 2 of the best in the company. Just something to keep in mind. Albert Pond says, great conversation as always. Keep up the good job. $2 super chat from Albert. Thank you, Albert. $10 super chat from Andrew came in. Thank you, Andrew, for that. And it appears that Myra just put in a $20 super chat. Wow, we are setting records today. So Myra says, I am excited Thunder Rosa finally won the big one. Disappointed in the build-up and hope AEW continues improving the storytelling and character development in their women's division. Great talent deserves great competition. Myra, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. Albert, Myra, Andrew, everybody today, thank you guys. I want to answer this. I want to respond to this. Great talent deserves great competition. And I hope to see that AEW continues to evolve this women's division. I really do hope they continue to evolve it. It's night and day difference, right? And, you know, they have Hikaru Shida, who is back. They obviously have something happening with Serena Deeb. I think once that's concluded, you can start building some feuds. You know, Serena Deeb, I think it's important for people to know that Thunder Rosa can't lose in her first title defense. I think Serena Deeb being the one to lose to Thunder Rosa could be very interesting. You know, perhaps, AEW has bought ROH. I don't know what the plan is with Deonna Purrazzo. Maybe you could bring in Deonna Purrazzo, who's currently in Impact. She's contracted to Impact Wrestling. I definitely agree, though. I am disappointed in the build-up and hope AEW continues improving storytelling. Look, I'm with you, Myra, 100%. Literally, I think there's no way better than to summarize it than what Myra just said. I'm excited Thunder Rosa finally won the big one. Disappointed in the build-up and hope AEW is continuing improving their storytelling and character development in the women's division. Great talent deserves great competition, and it should be very interesting. Thank you again, Myra, for your $20 super chat. Albert Pons, $2 super chat. Andrew, $10 super chat. Brian Medina, $5 super chat. I mean, guys, you are absolutely incredible. Thank you so much for today's super chats. We're going to get off the air. That concludes our show. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate you guys supporting the channel, and we will be back soon. The Ango Show will be going live Monday Night Raw, NXT, AEW Dynamite. This week for Rampage, SmackDown, we will not be going live. Just as a heads up, that is because AEW Rampage is going to go on the air around 11:30. The show will not end until after like 12:30. I'm not trying to do a show that late at night, but we will be back next week. Maybe we'll do like a special event of the Angle Show. I'll keep you guys posted in the Discord and on Twitter. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. Thank you guys for the super chats, and thank you guys for liking this video and showing love. I greatly appreciate you guys, and I will absolutely see you guys soon. Yeah, thank you all for stopping by. Appreciate you.